Welcome to the pre-match show presented by the Brian Burt's Home Selling Team. Score the best deal on a home with the Brian Burt's Home Selling Team. Visit brianburts.com or call 915-751-1500.
Last stop at home for Locomotive FC this July. Tonight, El Paso welcomes Oakland Roots SC to Southwest University Park. USL Championship Soccer is headed your way next. Welcome inside the broadcast booth here at Southwest University Park. I'm Duke Keith, joined by Colin Deaver. Great to have Colin back. It's the dog days of summer for Locomotive FC in a month that has not been particularly kind to the home side tonight.
Yeah, and to basically everybody in El Paso, 100-degree temperatures. We're going on almost, 39, 40 days here in El Paso. Obviously, when you're trying to play a soccer match, that affects things, but so do injuries and some bad luck of sorts. But Brian Clearhout and this bunch, they're not worried about it. They say it's kind of the ebbs and flows of a season, and then they think that this is the right moment to get on track tonight against an Oakland Roots team coming in here after a victory. But, you know, Locomotive, the stats still say they're solid. They're still the same stats roughly that they were doing when they were getting 3 points. Now it's just kind of the time to make it happen.
And still in third place in the Western Conference as we take a look at things for Locomotive FC and in the standings. They've picked up points with a couple of draws, haven't had the best home stretch, losing to big-time rivals New Mexico and San Antonio. 3 points tonight helps El Paso keep pace with Sacramento and San Antonio. Oakland, above the playoff line, just came off a big win against Monterey Bay. This is a good team that will cause El Paso some problems, a team they've never beaten. But as Colin mentioned, Locos are confident they can get back to their winning ways.
Stay positive. Keep working hard, keep working on the same things you were doing before that was, giving you good results.
We are just unlucky, like I said, we are in a period where we don't score goals. It's just unlucky. We create many chances and it's going to come.
Our numbers that we're putting in those, our shots are at the same level as where they were when we were getting three-pointers. So this is a natural thing. We're not the only team in this league that is going through maybe the best form right now. And it's just kind of continuing what we're doing.
Clearhout did mention that the late goal versus RGV does give the team confidence. He feels that last week's game was possibly the worst performance of the season, yet El Paso was still able to pick up a point in that one. The group still believes they can get past this stretch, and more guys are becoming available. Clearhout told us both Yuma and Jose Carrijo will be available tonight, and that should alleviate the burden we have seen on Bence Pakovic and Eric McHugh on that back line, too.
And with the Oakland Roots 3-4-3 style of play, those El Paso center backs are going to have to be on. Oakland coming into this one with a lot of momentum. Last Saturday, Monterey Bay, this game on ESPN2. Keeper Anthony Siaha comes out, making contact with Cedeno. Penalty. Johnny Rodriguez stepping up from the spot, converting 1-0 Roots. Alex Dixon gets that goal back for Monterey Bay in the 29th minute. It's a tie game right there. Couple of minutes later, look at the speed of Johnny Rodriguez, though. All-out effort tracks it down. The shot is even more impressive. Goodness gracious, far side netting with the right foot out of the reach of the keeper, 2-1. And in the second half, a player El Paso fans know well, Memo Diaz, former Locomotive defender, gets it past the keeper. And Colin, this celebration is unbelievable in the fog.
That celebration is flipping awesome. Oakland getting the victory. And look at this photo from Azael Garcia for Oakland Roots, capturing the moment perfectly that Memo Diaz went full send on the back flip. Just awesome. What a moment for the former Gadsden Panther player. And Duke, he's obviously looking forward to seeing his loved ones here in El Paso tonight.
I imagine a few will be in attendance. Should be a fun one. Both teams playing a fun style that will surely make for some big moments. Locomotive FC, Oakland Roots SC, next.
Southwest Chiropractic, serving El Paso area and relieving pain for more than 20 years. Not only do we treat auto, sports, and work-related injuries, but we also treat scoliosis, sciatica, back pain, disc injuries, chronic pain treatment, and we even manage stress. At Southwest Chiropractic, our patients are seen the same day. We provide gentle and effective care, and we accept most insurances. Schedule your appointment today and let us relieve your pain. With 3 convenient locations in El Paso, Southwest Chiropractic. Your health is our well-being. Call us today, 915-581-9619.
Welcome to Southwest University Park in El Paso, Texas. Duke Keith along with Colin Deaver. And let's take a look at the starting lineups as Locomotive FC taking on a team they have never beaten, as we talked about pregame in Oakland Roots. And there we see Eric Calvillo. He'll be a little further withdrawn today, and your eyes are not mistaken. That's three at the back. Yuma, not a part of the lineup. We thought he might be. Jose Carrillo is on the bench. But Colin, as we look at Oakland Roots, the man we're looking for out on that right side, Memo Diaz, for a former El Paso Locomotive player.
Yeah, fantastic to see him in the lineup. The former Gadsden Panther scored a goal last week. We showed you in the pregame, doing a backflip to celebrate for Locomotive tonight, Duke. Look for Mark Navarro to be playing that more advanced role up that right flank. We've seen him do it quite a bit this season already, but we are expecting him to be even in a more attacking role tonight for El Paso.
It is a different look for Brian Clarehout as he decides to go with three at the back, at least initially. Things can shift,
right?
But Mark Navarro, the Spaniard, playing up a little further, delivering quality service. It was his service that helped Aron Gomez score the tying goal versus RGV Toros FC, and rescuing a point from near certain defeat in the 88th minute. And there we see Petar Petrovic, second straight start. Third straight match back for Locomotive FC. Navarro and Petrovic, service from the wings, I think, will be very key to the Locomotive attack tonight.
And Petar Petrovic, of course, coming back from injury just recently, was able to play his first full game last week for El Paso, which certainly crucial in terms of when you're coming back from an injury, you have to get those legs underneath you. I kind of think, Duke, we could be in for a pretty strong game from him tonight. As we're getting a look at the goal that Benny Diaz will be defending in this first half. The netting on the top, perhaps some issues with it as it hangs down farther than normal. They're taking a look.
There might be. I don't know if anything's on
tear,
it. Might be a tear, you're right.
Yeah, tear in the netting of the goal there.
So the grounds crew and caretakers sprint onto the pitch to take a look. Johnny Rodriguez, a real key for that Oakland attack. Look for him up the middle, and thus I think why there's three at the back. Look for that backfield trio, plus Eric Calvillo and Liam Rose to be there to absorb a lot of pressure from 17.
Yeah, got to pinch in on him as much as possible. 2 goals last week. He has 8 in all competitions for Oakland Roots. Simply put, he's the guy they're looking for to serve the ball into pretty much at all times. He's been dangerous this entire season, so they'll have to be have to be on their P's and Q's with him for sure.
And there we see Memo Diaz, as you say, former Gadsden Panther. So many of those guys who played for Strikers FC in that Las Cruces area are still playing professionally. We'll run down that list a little bit later on. That includes El Paso's Ricardo Zacarias. Noel Delgado, the head coach, taking over as interim with the departure of Juan Guerra from Oakland to Phoenix mid-season last year and was named the head coach. There's a guy with ties to the El Salvador national team as a player, as the Puerto Rican national team as a player, because he's not Puerto Rican.
No.
Which is the more interesting thing. He played for the Puerto Rico Islanders, the NASL squad, and because he was there for 2 seasons, he's eligible for the national team. Underway tonight from El Paso, Texas. Oakland Roots. Such a sharp color scheme. You were talking about that. You're real impressed with the uniforms, as am I. I'm just really happy that they don't have the stained glass numbers anymore.
Yeah, the black numbers certainly pop off those white uniforms, but it's the trim on the shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
These are my favorite uniforms in USL Championship, what Oakland Roots, where I was looking at them to potentially buy one before I came up here tonight.
Okay.
But they're sold out of extra larges, Duke, unfortunately. Of course, supporting Memo Diaz, obviously.
Right. If you're going to buy a jersey, you're wearing the 23.
Exactly,
right?
yes.
There we go.
But they're sharp, they're sharp.
They are.
I would buy a Locomotive jersey, too, to be clear.
Eighth notch in full voice. We're in section 105, Locomotive. to bust out of a 4-match winless streak. They're taking points. That was a nice switch to Petar Petrovic. Petrovic in, trying to find Aron Gomez, and that's knocked out for a corner.
Petrovic so good one-on-one, and that'll actually be one of the keys to the game in just a moment, I think, after this corner kick, Duke. But just the way he can play, and as you see, the keys to the game, managing pressure up the middle with Johnny Rodriguez, winning one-on-one battles with Petar Petrovic, and then converting chances, which Duke, they of course have right here in the early get-go of the game. About to be the 3rd minute for El Paso as Petrovic takes this corner.
The Swede of Serbian ancestry. Always a pest to Brian Claerhout through his runs through 1st, 2nd, and 3rd division in Sweden. To the far post, that's knocked back in. Looks like Blanchette got just enough of a piece of it. It's lofted into space. We'll get back to the keys of the game momentarily as Eric Calvillo ready to go to work. Petrovic.
They call him a point player and an unlocker. That's what Brian Claerhout termed Petar Petrovic earlier this week at training. You see a little bit of that on that chance that El Paso just had where they forced the corner kick. We've seen it in a couple of different goals that he has scored for El Paso. So certainly key to the match tonight is to get him involved.
Well, meanwhile, the Casa Ford keys to the game as Oakland Roots takes possession here. Controlling that Oakland attack, I think, is going to be pretty key.
Yeah, certainly, and we discussed it a little bit with Johnny Rodriguez a little bit earlier. Liam Rhodes and Eric Calvillo can kind of set the tone for that with how they manage things in the midfield, and then winning, of course, the one-on-one battles. That's where Petar Petrovic comes into line. When Lucho Solniak, if he comes in the second half of this game, that's where he can kind of take advantage, and then converting chances. We saw El Paso do that on a golden opportunity late in the match to equalize by Josue Aron Gomez last Saturday, Duke. They got to do that again, but they have to continually do it. It's not something that they've done a lot of over the last few matches where they, again, winless in the last 5.
Benny Diaz, whose first trip to El Paso was in goal for the Oakland Roots in their first ever match against each other. That was an Oakland Roots playoff victory. Nicely done over the top, Navarro. Gomez off the side post. The rebound, Calvillo can't get there in time to send it, and it's blocked out. Navarro again. Service in from the wings, looking pretty sharp. Calvillo trying to float one over. It's tripped up a bit. Liam Rose keeps it in play for Petrovic. Petrovic, what a move to the far post, trying to find the upper right corner. Blazes it out, and it'll be a goal kick.
Aron Gomez, hands in his head there. I mean, how unlucky can you get for the number 7 for El Paso? A great ball ahead. He gets in behind, really takes his time, beats Blanchette, and just so unlucky there.
But Mark Navarro's pass, my goodness, he couldn't have done that any better. That's an over-the-shoulder quarterback throw, just laying it in there. Over the top of the defender, straight to Aron Gomez. And we see why Navarro and Petrovic are playing up as they do.
Yeah, again, this was a tactical change by Brian Claerhout tonight to have those two kind of playing up those wings a little bit more.
It's a good interception, but not able to keep a hold is Joseph Nane. Here's Navarro. Castician dispossessed. Tarek Morad. Solid job for Roots, but they have been under pressure from the get-go here for Locomotive FC. First goal's always important. Locomotive desperately wants to get on the board. Aron Gomez doing some work to put a little pressure, but Blanchette easily collected. Just so unfortunate, Aron Gomez. That's a long ball out of the back, nicely run down. And in it comes, defended well by Eric McHugh.
Right place, right time there from McHugh. Team of the week yet again in the USL for the Swede. He's been fantastic, hasn't he?
Solid work by Cedeno finding Tamakis. Back to Brian Tamakis. Play for a little possession here. The switch out to the left side. Memo Diaz sliding in to keep that one in play. Former Gadsden Panther. Mexico Player of the Year. We talked about that Strikers FC team, Memo Diaz and Carlos Zacarias. And the great ball, here's Rodriguez, tries to pull it back, but it's straight into the hands of his former teammate, Benny Diaz. Little kiss of the ball for Benny Diaz. And nice big of the turf has been dug up along that back line.
Johnny Rodriguez digging it up, digging out a double down there down the right field line.
It stayed fair. Memo Diaz, Ricardo Zacarias, Christian Herrera of Switchbacks FC, Luis Barraza of New York City FC, Aaron Herrera of CF Montreal.
He was just playing in the Gold Cup, I believe, for Guatemala.
Amazing. That's turned over. Pavkovic. Out it'll come to the right side. Cedeno. Last-ditch defending. Locomotive FC covers their angles. Eric Calvillo puts it over the back line. Like Locomotive had things well shut down as Cedeno tried to find a way through at the edge of the 6.
Calvillo obviously in our keys to the game, shutting things down in that center area again with the only 3 guys officially kind of on that back line. Him and Rose will have a big role tonight, so already kind of coming into that to force the corner kick.
Yasiel Cedeno, the Ecuadorian, coming to Oakland from Hartford Athletic. East Coast to West Coast. And it's Diaz to send the corner into the far post, and it's offside. That is about 1 foot off the byline, and quickly, Locomotive sending it into the path of Petrovic. Benny Diaz, quick outlet. Why not? Petrovic tries again for that top spot, and again puts it over the bar.
We see Benny Diaz do that. We comment on it every time, how quickly he'll get the ball out on goal kicks or offsides sometimes. Caught everybody off guard, including our center referee, Eric Tattersall, who was having a conversation with one of the Oakland Roots players, and all of a sudden just had to sprint and start tearing off for the other side. Petrovic, the second shot that he's put over, but El Paso certainly aggressive on those, trying to, again, fill those wings.
Petrovic, Aaron Gomez, both have missed on their efforts. Calvillo, as that one's turned over. Zacarias playing a role. Aaron Gomez, back to Eric Calvillo. Kostashin into the middle. That'll bounce. Not quite cleared away, but Oakland Roots will survive. Good work Diaz there, and that's going to be a foul as Cedeno's taken down. Quick restart. Tamakis. Cedeno and into the middle for the playmaker Lindo Mfeka, South African. Veteran of many a USL campaign. San Jose Earthquakes, Reno 1868. Major League Soccer USL Championship. Played his college soccer at South Florida. That's loose of Mfeka. Kostashin. Back from Rose, the Ukrainian. To Pavkovic. Vence Pavkovic, Miles Lyons, and this week Eric Calvillo and Liam Rose locked into contracts through next season. That is not something that we have seen a lot of from Locomotive FC, but great work by El Paso Locomotive and solid business.
What I like too is especially in that field area, it's Calvillo and Rose who play such a big role in that double pivot for Brian Clareout's squad. They are locked in together in that spot through 2025. So not yet, obviously it's this year, next year, and the year following that. So you already know who your defensive midfielders are going to be for 3 seasons. That is so huge for the continuity of the club and what they're building here. And also a priority for the club, Duke, to have those guys locked up long term.
Brian Clareout wanted to make it a mission to get everybody, as many as he can, obviously, because he likes this team. He likes the core. Why not? Aaron Gomez chased. That's going to be a foul. No, that will be a goal kick. Looked like the AR was going to signal foul on Nabil Hackshaw. Trinidad and Tobago, he's been capped by his country, but just goes out over the byline for a goal kick. So there we see Noah Delgado. Lots of ties to the Bay Area for not just the players, but the coach too, Noah Delgado. So many great soccer players coming from that area of California.
Obviously a big city, you got the earthquakes there.
That's well done. Great switch out to the right side, and then again is Cedeño. Cedeño, step over. Well defended. Borelli, and it'll be goal kick. And Borelli, not the fastest of guys, but in tight spaces, there is nobody better that you want near somebody's feet when a ball's about to be played in.
Yeah, low to the ground, obviously, so he'll be able to do a little bit more of that. And again, we talked about the new formation for El Paso a lot tonight, Duke. He will be crucial kind of on the back end of that with Popkovic and Eric McHugh defending with, of course, Mark Novato getting up that right side.
Locomotive will play out of the back. They will turn it over. Calvillo trying to step in, does get enough of a piece of that off of Matsoso. And Popkovic will give it a ride.
Something Brian Clareout said about this Oakland team at training over, I guess, back on Tuesday. They do value the possession, and he said they'll play a little bit. So a little bit different from maybe what we saw against Monterrey and San Antonio, where they were comfortable with sitting back. No, Oakland Roots wants to do a little bit of the same things that El Paso does. So it'll be a little more of a chess match maybe than we've seen in recent matches for Los Locos.
Cedeño takes a tumble. Rodriguez will take a tumble as well. And it'll be the first contact that'll be ruled a foul. I think our referee tonight, Eric Tattersall, wanted to play advantage. But Cedeño taken down. And it will be a direct kick from an interesting spot. If you're in the top of the 18, that's one thing, as we saw from Lionel Messi last night.
How about that?
My goodness. My goodness.
Everyone's expecting you to do it, hoping you'll do it, and you actually do it. It's the odds of that happening, we were talking about before the broadcast, got to be 5 to 10%.
On the side, something different. Looks like Benfica and Memo Diaz having a conversation about where they want to put this. Benfica with that left foot can go in. Who will take the touch? Benfica will go for goal, punched out by the sent back in. Turned away, Benfica taken off nicely by Petrovic. Sees that one, it's off the back of Kostashin's heel. That'll bounce kindly for Cedeño and Oakland Roots. Here's Hackshaw. Switch again, Cedeño. They want it on his feet up that right wing. Asiel Cedeño. Matsoso scuffed it. Hackshaw's going to have to go retrieve, and Oakland will reset.
Cedeño, one of the big creators up top for this Oakland Roots team. A couple assists on the year. Also scored a goal from a really tight angle a couple weeks ago against Memphis. So it's not just Johnny Rodriguez up top. They do have some guys.
Long ball out of the back, and that's going to be offside anyway. Trying to find Memo Diaz flashing. But Diaz on it, wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Benny, like you mentioned, Duke played here last year with Oakland Roots, so probably good for him to see some of his old teammates. But they know him pretty well. They know some of his tendencies. We'll see if that maybe helps Oakland out tonight.
Over the top.
Back-to-back goalkeeper headers, Duke. Did not have that on the bingo card.
No. McHugh played into space, but it's intercepted. Rodriguez looking for it. And an important intervention by McHugh on Mveka. As we take a look at Diaz on that free kick. The punch away. Petrovic holding Tamakas at bay. Petrovic, that's a switch. He tried to take off, but the ball got away from him.
El Salvadorian ties, Duke, kind of poking its head up, obviously, in this match. You talked about Noah Delgado, the manager for Oakland Roots. He was a coach for El Salvador at the Gold Cup this year. Tamakas for Oakland, and then Eric Calvillo as well.
Here's Zacarias. Zacarias, that's on net, on frame, but easily handled by Blanchette.
He's been really missed, I think. Missing a couple of games with injury, came back last week, but Brian Claret spoke specifically about him earlier this week, that they missed him, and they put a lot of minutes on some of their other strikers. So to have him back after a couple matches due to injury, certainly good, and lets them revitalize the lineup a little bit. You know, you can put Lucho on the bench, let him come in maybe in the 70th, rest his legs, because Zacarias is just as dangerous up top as anybody.
He's proven that, and every season he has been here, he has raised the level of his game. And we have an injured Locomotive player. It's Liam Rose. We do understand that there will be a hydration break tonight, as you would imagine. For the first time in well over a month, it did not reach the century mark in El Paso. So we are thankful for small mercies.
What did it get to, like 99?
96 or 7.
96, 97. Well, it'll be back to 108 on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. So it has been relentless. Regardless, I know that there are apparently a bunch of different factors you take into consideration: humidity, heat, misery index, things like that. You know, wind chill, I have no idea. But that will be coming up in around the 30th minute.
And it's we kind of got the rundown a couple weeks ago about how USL decides how they do, you know, these hydration breaks. And I thought it was just 85 degrees for a very long time.
Me too.
Regardless, you know, if it's dry heat, if it's humid. But no, they have a certain criteria. And finally, I think Las Vegas, El Paso, Phoenix said, hey guys, it's still 100 degrees here, regardless of the fact that, you know, maybe there's no heat index pushing us higher. Can we do some hydration breaks? And finally, they've added a couple here the last couple of matches.
Well, it's interesting to note that it is, first of all, something that is agreed by the teams. If they don't want to do it, then that's kind of up to them beforehand. If they do, that's something they talk about. Again, Tamakas pulls it back. Cedeno. Well done, Popkovic. Oakland, though, finding some paths up that right flank. Hackshaw will keep possession. The TNT man to Mfeka. Matsoso.
And certainly Duke, with El Paso playing a little bit higher than maybe they have in recent matches, inevitably on that back line, there's going to be some open spaces, and Roots, as you mentioned, has been attacking that flank with Adair Borelli.
Again, Navarro just over the top to Petrovic. Rolls it, the save required, but made by Paul Blanchette. Locomotive. Well, they've gone from putting it over or off the post to on frame, but Blanchette keeps it scoreless.
Blanchette tied for the league lead in saves coming into this one. Also has his fair share of clean sheets, 7 of them this season, so he is by no means a slouch in goal. Nice save on a really good attempt there from Petrovic, and these passes that we've seen from Mark Navarro have just been pinpoint.
Paul Blanchette, I always thought it was a rather dubious stat. If you are a leader in saves, then that means you're making a lot of saves.
It's like a cornerback making a lot of tackles.
Exactly.
Is that necessarily a good thing? I don't know.
Right. Over the top again. Petrovic trying to run it down Blanchette, way off his line, but had a beat on that all the way out, and needed to. Let's look at Petrovic from a minute ago.
Gets behind the defense yet again. I mean, he's being patient. It's just a good kick save there.
And I really think Emre Clemente was back enough to get just a piece of that ball.
That's certainly a play we've seen Petrovic finish already this season a couple of different times. He'll maybe won it back, but also have to tip your cap to the keeper as well.
Emre Clemente. Oakland native after his family moved to the Bay Area, immigrating from Montenegro, has played for his country's national team. Won a championship in 2014 with Sacramento Republic. Long time and big time star with that program for many seasons.
The names of guys that have come through Sacramento Republic, it seems like there's 3 or 4 every single time we get a new team coming to the swoop this year. They've just been around for so long and had so much success.
Indeed, not a championship for Sac Republic since that 2014 season, but they're on top of the Western Conference now. Deep U.S. Open Cup run as well. That's deflected. Kostishin has to go back. Diaz under a bit of pressure.
Was Memo Diaz applying that pressure?
Diaz on Diaz violence. Cedeño. Borelli wearing the captain's armband. Great to hear that Yuma is available and practicing with the team. We heard he might be in the 18 tonight. That is not the case. But back with his teammates, cleared for full practice, and that is a wonderful thing.
No question about it. Obviously, 5th season with the club in year 5 of the team itself. He has become as much a face of the club as anybody in USL Championship, so happy to have him certainly back and ready to go.
Johnny Rodriguez there to provide a little pressure, but you're seeing both keepers come way off of their line to deal with pressure near the edge of the box. That's going to be a foul.
Certainly it's something that's been much more popularized in the last 5-10 years of football, just playing through a goalkeeper a little bit more, but these guys do it as much as anybody, I have to imagine.
Diaz with 6 clean sheets, Paul Blanchette with 7 this season. Both doing their jobs to great effect for their respective teams.
And when you have a guy back there who is, kind of an ultimate fail-safe, it just makes you so much more comfortable and confident as a manager and certainly as a team in front of him.
Here is Zacarias. decides to go to the left. That's well done, Clementa. Whistle for the foul. Zacarias gets a stern lecture. Mr. Tatterson, our referee, and Clementa a little the worse for wear. Or Tamakis, my apologies. Get a look at Paul Blanchette. Played with RGVFC. It's another team that seems to have a lot of guys who've come through RGV and moved on to other places.
Blanchette, you know.
That's over the top looking for Rodriguez to no avail.
You know, splitting time. I mean, to discuss it, yeah, you split time with Benny Diaz last year with
That's
Oakland
true.
Roots. So 20 appearances, had a player of the week, a save of the week. So very interesting too. We talked about the chess matches with the teams as a whole, but interesting to watch these two play against each other after they, I'm sure, got to know each other so well in Oakland last year.
McHugh out of the back. He'll spray one wide. Petrovic does well to bring it down. But well done, and it'll be a goal kick. Oh. And now Petrovic into a bit of a shoving match with Tamakis. Let's take a look at this one again. Tamakis covering his angles, leans in. Petrovic. Oh my goodness gracious.
I don't know if he got a piece of him. It was a little bit tough to say. He's definitely moved his arm.
Well, that was, the fall came well after Petrovic had started walking away, but he is going to receive a caution in the 29th minute.
Tamakis says, no, you got me.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this one again.
So watch the, goes out and then there, and then moved his
Oh,
hand.
I see.
I don't know if he actually got it.
It makes me wonder. And there was a little flick of the hand.
They just showed it on the Southwest University Park Jumbotron.
Yes. As you can plainly tell, the crowd here in El Paso, not fans of that.
Salvadorian and a Swede beating the bar.
Eighth Notch has been in full voice, but that might have got the rest of Southwest University Park into this one.
Certainly the section right down there that saw it all unfold. The lawn is well attended tonight as well. They had a good view of it.
And we are into our hydration break. As we are at the edge of the 30th minute, Brian Clairhout with some work to do with his team. Locomotive FC. As we take a look at the replay, did Petar Petrovic actually make contact with Tamakis?
It's the million-dollar question of the match right now. Getting a good look at Brian Clare out there too now, Duke, but here we go. What do we think, Duke?
I think he may have grazed his nose or something, but there was nothing in it. Looks like he caught him a little bit, just kind of, hey, come on, guy. But yeah. You know, when you got.
When the strike's over in Hollywood, he might have a job.
Get him his SAG-AFTRA card right now. That's hilarious. We'll look at the aftermath there. As we continue in the hydration break, Tamakis, El Salvador, has been capped by his team. Eric Calvillo signing a long-term, well, a year-and-a-half contract he's locked in through next season for Locomotive FC. Has been kept for his country, El Salvador, as well. We talked about those connections, but kind of the midfield metronome. And it is so wonderful that he and Liam Rose, his teammate, that double pivot, locked up for Locomotive. And I will say this, Liam Rose, I think, as well, has really stepped up his game this 2023 season.
Yeah, first kind of full look that we've gotten at Liam Rose this year. He's been fantastic. We discussed the different role that Eric Calvillo has had to play this year in a more defensive situation for El Paso.
Cedeño does well.
But those two together have great chemistry on the field.
Trying to chip Diaz. That's a goal kick.
Great chemistry on the field, Duke, but also off the field. You know, very good friends. They'll hang out. I don't know if Liam has done any babysitting yet for Eric and his family, but that's awesome.
That might not be the best thing right now.
No.
Yes.
Let's leave him with Mom for now. Liam, you can come over and be the fun uncle in a couple of years.
There we go. Australian. We're hearing that baby Enzo, that is Eric Calvillo's new baby boy, is Zacarias fouled by Clementa, is a very calm, good baby. And I will say that if he's calm and he's only 2 or 3 weeks old, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's certainly a stroke of luck, and you love to hear that too.
Blessings. And much like his dad, baby Enzo here at the match loves to hear the crowd behind his old man.
And when it gets quiet, that's when the tears start to flow, because I would have to imagine, because if it's quiet, that means maybe things aren't going as well for Dad.
Exactly. That's well done. Back in, headed in, Cedeño trying to find Matsoso, and nearly did. It's out for a throw, a little bit further back for Tamacas. Says our referee.
Well done there by Cedeño. I thought maybe the offsides flag was going to go up, but he was able to remain on sides, and pretty good service in there.
Pavkovic will spray it wide to Navarro. Locomotive has not been able to get the Spaniard loosed a whole lot lately, but trying another long ball out of the back. This one doesn't settle in for Ron Gomez. Calvillo going for the intercept. Clementa keeping it under control. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of every USL game. Championship action on ESPN Plus, the home to the USL La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. ESPNplus.com today. It's a long cross. Looking for Mfeka, it didn't go where they wanted it to go. Mfeka Matsoso, intercepted by Calvillo. Hackshaw, Clementa. Tamacas. Well done by Borelli. Calvillo again. Some good defending by Kostashin.
Zacarias there too.
That's right. And Diaz held in check a bit. That's out. It'll be a throw. Well, the flag is up. It's offside.
Duke, looking at the heat map on USLChampionship.com, the match statistics. We, again, have discussed quite a bit already tonight how much El Paso is trying to get those flanks, those outlets to Mark Navarro, especially Petar Petrovic on that left flank down near the 18-yard box for Oakland. It is bright red.
Yeah.
So really reflective of what they're doing. And then keys to the match, Oakland wants to play centrally. That's exactly where they're at too on this heat map. So Wish we could pull it up on the broadcast so visually people can see it, but you'll just have to take my word for it.
It's there, and if you want to see it, USLChampionship.com. The live match stats do have the heat map there. Good reason to go to the league website. To enhance your viewing experience, that one's set in. Diaz claims it before Johnny Rodriguez can get there. Tamakas. Locomotive. That's a foul. Feka taking down Kostishin. Whatever Locomotive was doing in the first 5 to 10 minutes of this match, they have not been able to do over the last few.
I was going to say the train is kind of ground to a halt here in the last 15, 20 minutes. 6 shots for El Paso, and 2 of them on target, but I believe the last one was that Petar Petrovic one about 15 minutes ago.
That is a high ball. It's going to be intercepted. And then Feka puts it up and over.
A little bit sloppy play there from El Paso, so it just hasn't been the same it was after a really pretty good start.
Lindo Mfeka, drafted by San Jose in 2017. Missed the playoffs in 2021. Over the top, Petrovic, well done at the back by Tamakas, who's been everywhere. Hackshaw dispossessed by Kostishin, but they'll get it back. Diaz receiving from Danny Barber. Locomotive trying to put a little pressure. Roots has weathered the storm.
And you would kind of expect that from a team that sits in 6th place in the Western Conference. Has really had a nice season.
1-1, drew one. Their last couple. Cedeno again. Crossing. The shot off the bar because of the save from Diaz. Oh, they had it set up for Matsoso. Benny Diaz, his former teammate, getting a part of that to push it off the crossbar.
Early candidate for the save of the week, I think, in the USL. Had to have it, and what a setup first by Oakland Roots to get it going down that flank. But then a fantastic save as we get a look at it, Duke.
Tamakas, excellent ball. Oh, fingertip save by Diaz. Oh, great angle here. Getting the well-deserved cheer from 8th Notch.
And a little bit lucky. Ricochets off of the crossbar. A little bit lucky that it didn't go off of his backside straight into the goal. Mark Novato and Eric McHugh there to deal with it completely.
It's Cedeno. Gets it into Mfeka, and the fingertip save by Diaz keeps this one 0-0. Best chance of the night for either team.
Without question, there is stoppage in play here is for Brian Tamakas. As he walks off the side of the field. Of course, had the coming together, if you want to call it that, with Petar Petrovic a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
He's actually getting some tapes, ace bandage this time. So
Salvador International, Tamakas from San Salvador, capital city. He's none the worse for wear, ready to come back in. As we hear plainly from our sideline mics. Petrovic, nice step over the cross to the far post. Nobody in blue, but on the far side, Blanchett, it's his turn. Mark Navarro.
Novato has served up some fantastic crosses to Petrovic, and now it's Petrovic returning the favor. And you're right, Duke. Blanchett making an absolutely necessary save, but it goes out for a corner kick.
Kostishin, beautiful. Well worked, and here is Kostishin drives one. It's headed out by Rodriguez. Pushed back Borelli. From Gomez. Petrovic. Petrovic to the byline. I think they've watched some game tape. Double teamed, and now Oakland coming back up the right. Cedeno trying to step over, McHugh having none of it.
Of course, it was in our keys to the game that Petrovic needed to win his one-on-one battles. He's done that. Now he's got to win his one-on-two battles.
Exactly.
Got to change our keys to the game on the fly.
Soccer's a game of adaptation. Got to stay on top of it. It's McHugh. McHugh didn't make the first 11 team of the week, but was on the alternate roster. The third time he's received a league honor. Stepping in, of course, for Yuma.
Yeah, it really hasn't been playing for that long consistently for the club. And like you said, 3 and I think about 8 or 9 weeks that he's on the team of the week.
Part of that group of 4 taking Spanish lessons and doing quite nicely. Calvillo. Excellent. They step over to spring the Locomotive attack. What can they do with it? Calvillo again. That's a little hard bounce. Oakland will have it back. Rodriguez. Haven't seen a whole lot of number 17 for Oakland, which is a good thing from a Locomotive defensive standpoint.
Certainly, I think they've done a solid job of bottling up the top strikers that we've talked about pre-match in the last few games that they've had at home. But it's been other guys that have been able to step up and secure wins, secure draws for the road teams coming into Southwest University Park. So Paso just has to stay on its toes. Obviously, you got to hold on to Johnny Rodriguez, but Memo Diaz can get loose as he did last week as well too. So got to watch out for everybody.
Locomotive with possession, but on their own half of the pitch. They'll elect to play the outlet valve to Benny Diaz. USL's second annual summer showcase signals the start of the sprint to the finish. Philip Goodrum and FC Tulsa heading west to face Romario Williams and Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. It's going to be August 9th, 7 p.m. on The Deuce, ESPN2.
Haven't heard it called that in a while. The Deuce. Duke, were you ever on The Deuce? You call a game on The Deuce?
I have not called a game on The Deuce. I have done something. I have done a network that no longer exists, CBS College Sports, CSTV. Here's Rodriguez. Plays it back into the middle. That'll be switched to Macas. Cedeno. Cedeno in the 18. Chased out. Petrovic is on it. Here's Hackshaw. Or Nane. Nane trying to serve one in. There is Hackshaw. 4 minutes of stoppage time. Good work by Nabil Hackshaw. Up and into the middle. Flag is up. Benfica a step in back or ahead of the line. The back line for Locomotive. And Eric McHugh will have a spell.
As assistant referee Jennifer Garner, who was on that offsides call. You heard that correctly?
Yes. Jennifer Garner, she's been here a couple of times. She has, I am certain she's heard that before.
She's probably going to listen back to this or have a family member tell her about it and be very upset that we mentioned that, but she does a fantastic job.
She has done. Babacar Jallo, our other assistant referee, Mario Garcia, the fourth official, and of course, Eric Tattersall, our center. Pointed out if she ever centers a game, we'll wait for this. Navarro intercepted by Clementa, and he had to be there. Gomez would have walked in. That's a shirt pull. Liam Rose might need to be a little careful there. That's actually Popkovic.
He needs to be careful though too, because I believe his next yellow card will result in a suspension for the next game. So
Tamacas and Cedeno. Clementa. Well, Locomotive has surprised Roots with a couple of those over-the-top balls. But it seemed like Roots has had the right people in the right spots to handle what Locomotive has thrown at them. The flag is up again. And Feka. Hands on his hips, but pretty plain. And there is Jennifer Garner. As we said, if she ever centers a match, it's almost obligatory that you have to use the what's in your wallet line.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Dad joke of the year. Courtesy of Juan Gutierrez. Juan is our producer who wants credit for most things, but he says he doesn't want credit for that joke.
Oh, he's leaving me on the island.
You're left out to dry on that one.
As the dad between us three, I guess I'll own that. That's fine. Almost mishandled there by Matsoso. They survive it, and here's Nane, the Cameroonian. Matsoso will spray it wide to the left. Clementa. Good ball movement by Oakland. They've done a pretty solid job of holding it tonight.
As we say, that's what they want to do.
Over the top, Memo Diaz. Well done, Mark Navarro.
El Paso actually winning possession, 55% of it, but that was about 70% midway through the half. So Oakland really has kind of, as you said a couple minutes ago, weathered the storm, gotten back in this game, have the best chance to score of the night. So
we are perhaps seconds away from halftime. And there is the whistle. 0-0 at the break. Some great saves made by both keepers, Paul Blanchette and Benny Diaz, to keep this one scoreless through 45. We'll be back on the other side to take a look at the standings, the stats, and the highlights. Plenty more on the way. The GECU halftime show is coming up next. Here from El Paso, Texas, Locomotive FC 0, Oakland Roots SC 0 at the break.
Find your next adventure in a new Ford during the summer drive at Casa Ford. Now is the time to get into the new truck or SUV you've been looking for. We've got the keys to your next adventure. Hit the open road in a new Ford today. Get $7,500 off MSRP plus 1.9% APR financing on select new F-150s. The summer drive is ending soon, so come into Casa Ford today.
Home of the nice guys.
Yeah!
Brings the first ever MMA event to Southwest University Park on Friday, August 4th. Sabina Mazo headlines the night. Don't miss out on any of the thrilling action. Tickets are on sale now at southwestuniversitypark.com and the Durango Street box office. Doors open at 6 p.m. on fight night with the first bout at 7 p.m. and the main card at 9 p.m. Special thanks to our sponsors Speaking Rock, Bud Light, Cesar Ornelas, Subaru El Paso, and Barrio Eats and Drinks. We'll see you at Southwest University Park on August 4th.
Welcome back to Southwest University Park. Downtown El Paso, the place, Locomotive FC 0, Oakland Roots 0. Duke Keith along with Colin Deaver with you. As we take a look at the Western Conference standings, Locomotive, despite that lack of form through the month of July, still very much in the thick of it, just 3 points off the top spot. In third at 32 points. Sacramento Republic, as we say, in the lead, 35 points. San Antonio FC, 34 points. Locomotive, 32 points. All three with 9 wins. Switchbacks FC has 9 wins, but they've played another game and are 7 off the pace set by Sacramento at 28. San Diego Loyal SC in 4th at 30. Oakland Roots above the playoff line along with Monterey Bay FC, both at 27 points. And Phoenix Rising FC, rising up the Western Conference standings, 25 points. They're the ones on top of New Mexico United going into tonight's action. United in 9th, Orange County SC, each of those with those 3 teams with 25 points, followed by RGB FC, 24 points, and Las Vegas Lights in the cellar with 11. The playoff line, number 8, is what you need to look at. And both of these teams here tonight are above that line. So we take a look at USL storylines for Locomotive FC, announcing, of course, that Eric Calvillo and Liam Rose will be under contract through the 2025 season. Both players integral in the midfield. Both 2 of the hardest working players on the team. Eric Calvillo converting on that penalty kick goal against San Antonio FC. Liam Rose, he's played in every match this season, scored his first goal earlier this season for Locomotive FC. And congratulations to Raul Vasquez, the 17-year-old right back in the academy, signed to an academy contract, which means he is eligible to play in games while also keeping his college eligibility. He is a part of the Locomotive Academy, but can be now brought up to the top squad. Raul, or Chapo as he's known, made an impression on John Hutchinson last year, and with Brian Clairhout, he's done the same. Congratulations to the young man, the academy, also beating Boulder United this morning 3-0. Congratulations. That is a USL League game, of course, an Academy League game. And if you want to know all those weekly awards, vote, check out the winners. It's all there for you at USLChampionship.com. Let's take a break. We'll look at the stats on the other side. 0-0 at the half here in El Paso, Texas.
Are you ready? Ready for more of the game you love? Ready for more players and more teams? Ready for more stadiums, for more fans in more cities? This is a different league. The USL Super League. Built for the future of women's soccer. Bridging the journey from youth to pro, connected to the global game, and bringing it all closer to home. Are you ready?
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Welcome back to the Sun City. El Paso Locomotive FC hosting Oakland Roots. It's 0-0 at the break. Let's take a look at a couple of the key moments from the first half of the match. This one came early on. Check out the feed from Mark Navarro over the top. Josue Aron Gomez takes his time, but unfortunately for El Paso, puts it off. The Woodworks with the left foot to remain 0-0. A little bit later in the match, Petar Petrovic. Service with the left foot. Novato coming over, and a fantastic save there by Paul Blanchette of Oakland Roots to keep it 0-0. And again, that's where we stand in this one. A couple of good chances for both sides in this one. Will one of them find a winner in the second half? Stick around to find out with Duke, Keith, and myself after this.
Your adventure starts here during the summer drive at Casa Nissan. Discover new horizons and search through a great selection of new cars, trucks, and SUVs. And summer drive savings mean you can take your adventure to new heights when you shop at Casa Nissan.
Get 0% APR financing plus $1,000 off on a 2023 Rogue.
Come see us today during the summer drive at Casa Nissan.
How our drive in the 915.
Home of the nice guys.
Yeah!
Welcome back. A beautiful look at downtown El Paso, Texas, on what has turned into a beautiful evening so far. Ish. It didn't reach 100 degrees. Duke, Keith, and Colin Deaver as we take a look at the halftime stats. No goals for either side. Locomotive out shooting Roots 7-4. Shots on target 3-2. Shots inside the box 7-1. 5 offsides. Offside flags up mainly against Lindo Mfeka, let's be honest. The passing accuracy, 89%, Colin, to 87 roughly. And the possession, about 50-50, pretty close all the way around.
One thing that stands out to me off of this, Duke, is the shots in the box for El Paso Locomotive. That was something that we discussed in the last few weeks that they hadn't really been able to do in the open run of play, is getting shots in the box. They, of course, scored a goal last week. Aaron Gomez, getting the equalizer late inside the box, but it's not something that they've done a lot of lately. That's good to see that they are creating chances within the 18.
And it was by design. I mean, you saw Petar Petrovic. We heard Petar Petrovic, he's coming up the left wing to deliver crosses. Navarro, obviously a much more advanced role tonight. He's there to deliver crosses. So far, I think that it's worked a treat to give them the chances. They've just not been able to put the ball in the back of the net.
Which has been the problem, too, the last few weeks as well. So that has to change. Converting chances was on our keys to the game. Great job by Juan Gutierrez pointing that one out for us. But has to be fantastic. Has to be fantastic in terms of the final third quality finishing for El Paso to get this win tonight.
So they've gotten the opportunities they wanted to get. It's just putting the ball in the back of the net that is the difference so far tonight for Locomotive. Oakland Roots has had its shots too, though, including certainly, as my friend pointed out, a save of the week candidate from Benedias. Coming up more with highlights and the second half after this.
Legacy Fighting Alliance brings the first ever MMA event to Southwest University Park on Friday, August 4th. Sabina Mazo headlines the night. Don't miss out on any of the thrilling action. Tickets are on sale now at southwestuniversitypark.com and the Durango Street box office. Doors open at 6 p.m. on fight night with the first bout at 7 p.m. and the main card at 9 p.m. Special thanks to our sponsors Speaking Rock, Bud Light, Cesar Ornelas, Subaru El Paso, and Barrio Eats and Drinks. We'll see you at Southwest University Park on August 4th.
Welcome back. That is a look at the West Star Tower and Hunt Plaza here in downtown El Paso. 0-0 at the break between Locomotive FC and Oakland Roots. Duke Keith, Colin Deaver with you. As we take a look at our first half highlights, and Locomotive, we talked about delivering those chances. Number 2 to number 7. Work to treat tonight, Colin.
Yeah, as good of a pass as you're going to see from anybody in the USL by Mark Navarro. Gomez wants it back, but you can't ask for a better chance than that.
Pilar Petrovic sprayed a couple over the crossbar on some step overs, appreciates that and appreciates the service to get him there. Benny Diaz, a couple of punch saves. And here is Ricardo Zacarias for El Paso, getting one of the shots on goal. But certainly a save of the week candidate, Napo Matsoso, robbed by Benny Diaz. Pilar Petrovic returning the favor to Navarro. Paul Blanchette called upon there.
Yeah, two goalkeepers, of course, who split time together against for Oakland last year, making fantastic saves to keep this for their side, to keep this scoreless here in the first half. Very easily could be 1-1 if either of those goes in. Could be even more than that for El Paso if Aaron Gomez's luck was just a little bit better there on that one off the post. He's had a few of those in his time over 5 years with El Paso Locomotive FC. Just some unlucky shots. Add that one to the list, but I think this will change in turn for Locomotive in the second half.
Josue Aaron Gomez coming over from Locomotive's sister squad, FC Juarez Bravos, who are in the house tonight at Southwest University Park. Of course, they're in Leagues Cup play, I believe, this Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
At Austin FC.
In Austin to take on Austin FC. That's a lot of green for one field. Little meeting with the coaches between Eric Tattersall, our referee, Brian Clairhout, with Delgado. Not quite sure if
maybe
that is a discussion about fouls and physical play. It hasn't been nasty, I don't think, in any particular
really.
respect. Maybe more about hydration breaks.
Could be potentially, as we see Chaparreta actually standing there up there. Maybe he's about to come into the game, but yeah, the hydration breaks, as we discussed, 30th minute around the 70th minute for this match. Perhaps they're making some changes to that as El Paso makes a change.
It will be Chaparreta coming in for Liam Rose, as we understand. So I don't know if Liam took a knock.
He does have ice on that right knee, or
yeah,
right knee quad area, perhaps. So
coming out of the locker room, that is live as Liam Rose returns to the pitch, but his night on the field is done. So Chaparreta will be part of that key double pivot with Eric Calvillo. Native El Pasoan.
Certainly, he's no slouch when he comes on. It's not like they lose anything when he comes on in place of Liam Rose there.
You know who I want to keep an eye on is Chapa's son, Leo. Have you seen the highlights from
I
the
have, yes.
Pay attention to Chaparreta's social media, Instagram, Twitter. He posts his son's highlights all the time. Little Leo is really something.
And when
there's a reason he's named Leo.
I remember doing a story when Chapa was signed to the club, right? I mean, we've chronicled it so many times how he came from an open tryout and never left. But when we did an initial story when he was signed back in 2019, he brought Leo to the signing. I think he was he was 2 at the oldest, I think, at that point, and he was just still dribbling around on the field better than I can, I think. So he could be a star in the making, no doubt.
About ready to get things started. We are underway for half number 2. Ricardo Zacarias will get things going for Locomotive FC. Denis Kostishin. The Ukrainian is somebody Brian Clairhout would like to see touch the ball more. If they can make that happen.
Certainly didn't say his name as much in that first half as maybe in previous matches as they tried to use those long balls from Mark Navarro to Pilar Petrovic, but maybe the adjustment for El Paso in the second half is to get things a little bit more involved in the middle of the field with Kostishin.
Slavkovic to Chapa. Herrera, I believe, played with the Texas Stars. We pointed out, showed up in an open tryout and never left. Really catching the eye of Mark Lowry, and a man who was working with his brother doing roofs around El Paso. Roofing. Ooh.
That is a tough job.
Tough job, but professional footballer for 5 seasons. Aaron Gomez. Who, if memory serves, was born in El Paso. Of course, hails from Mexico. Part of the Bravos lineup along with Eder Borelli before both of them made the jump.
I believe he lived in Ciudad, Chihuahua for a time as a young kid, also Juarez.
Off the restart, Calvillo and Kostashin setting things up. Little right foot, left foot look. They'll go to Petrovic, and why not? Petrovic deflected in! I believe it'll be an own goal. 8th notch, and the Locomotive fans will not care. 48th minute goal. Petar Petrovic making it happen.
We talked in the pregame about him needing to win his one-on-one battles. They set it up for him to do just that as he attacks, takes a deflection off of the Roots defender into the goal. Unfortunate for Paul Blanchette and company, but as you said, Duke, El Paso does not care. It's like it was Clementa, perhaps.
It is 1-0. It was Emra Clementa who had that one bounce basically off his back. Nothing Paul Blanchette could have done about it. 1-0 Locomotive FC. They'll take it however it's delivered.
Well, we talked about the bad luck that maybe they had in the first half. Of course, a shot off the post by Aaron Gomez. Petrovic had his own that was a little unlucky. That's certainly unlucky just now for Oakland Roots, but the game kind of ebbs and flows like that sometimes.
So Roots will have to come out and play. The Delgado squad has certainly done that tonight. Sometimes you can find a team on the road that just wants to bring it back in. Park the bus, as it were. Petrovic's first goal since Colorado Springs earlier. That should be an own goal. It's probably not going to be Petrovic's goal, but he certainly caused it. Locomotive is happy to have the Swede back in the lineup. So the question is always, would it have been a goal if no one else touched it? And I would imagine Petrovic,
he's going to say yes.
Yeah, sure. He steered his last couple on frame, but would Blanchette have saved it? There's no telling. So some decisions for our scorekeepers up here in the press box with us. Great bit of fight by Chapa. Kostashin. It's a good lead ball. Aaron Gomez. Well done by Hackshaw, and Gomez fouls it in the process. Nabil Hackshaw does just enough to stay in front of that. The irrepressible Aaron Gomez.
Here's a look at the goal again.
Hard to tell if that would have been in or not.
The USL website does have it for Petrovic.
So it will be Petar Petrovic's goal. If it is officially, they can change that.
Sure.
But as of now, it is Petrovic's goal. And here is a yellow card. Looks like it's given to Nane. Oh, it's Zacarias.
Get just one more note on the goal there. the way the angle was, we just got confirmation it was an own goal, correct? All right, they have officially ruled that as an own goal. I was going to say the angle of that ball in by Petrovic, I mean, just the way Blanchette was going, it looked like he was going to get there before the deflection. So
certainly looked like he had a bead.
So officially an own goal.
And a yellow card to Ricardo Zacarias in the 51st, setting up a free kick from right in the middle of the pitch, call it about 35 yards off the byline. And it'll be Memo Diaz into Infeca. Diaz will chip this one. Hackshaw. Well done. Rick McHugh. Locomotive will concede the corner. We're hearing that Nabil Hackshaw might be carrying a knock here into the second half for Oakland Roots. Certainly missing Dariusz Pomela, the Polish forward who has the second most goals for Oakland Roots here tonight. Of course, Odon Magnus Carlsen, who was an absolute thorn in Locomotive's side in Oakland last year. Gone back to Venezia. He was on loan from Venice. To the far post, that's knocked out athletically by Zacarias. It's well played and looking for service again is Barbier. That'll be knocked over Diaz. Wow.
Nearly caught out again. Those San Antonio goals that doomed El Paso in the second half kind of similarly caught him off guard. Off the corner kick, just maybe directing traffic a little bit, but a good job to get back and force the corner.
It'll be Infeca over to take this one. Or they might play it short with Diaz. Looks like it'll be Diaz to set it up. Diaz goes direct, and that is Hackshaw. And again, Diaz. Easy catch this time as it popped up into the air. Playing the direct route. My goodness, what a ball. Line splitting pass to Aron Gomez. Aron Gomez keeps it. Taken down, and that's going to be a yellow card on Clementa. And a free kick for Locomotive right outside the 18.
Dangerous spot. Hasn't been the best 5 or 6 minutes for it. Clementa has it.
An unfortunate deflection for the own goal. Actually, it might be a push on Damakas. It's Damakas who committed the foul. And I would imagine received the yellow card. That was a clear push.
I'll give that to Damakas.
Gotta be. And so Navarro looks to be setting up for this one. And why not? The Spaniard has been quality tonight. His fellow Spaniard, Jose Carrillo, signed a couple of weeks ago, is on the bench tonight as a part of the 18. Will we see him make his Locomotive debut?
Certainly if El Paso's going to be protecting any kind of lead late, you might think they would bring him on.
Costas in there as well, though. And it is a dangerous free kick. Anything with an angle. Almost like a scratch shot in pool. It'll be Navarro, tipped away. Blanchette trying to cover and does enough. Zacarias there to knock on the door. But Blanchette keeps it just shut. Played forward to Petrovic. And it's off of Petrovic, who cannot believe the call goes against him. Good work by Clementa.
Here's the free kick there from Mark Navarro. Blanchette doing well to keep Zacarias away from it at the end.
Nane rolling over, might have scraped it, but certainly not in any deliberate way. We're hearing Damakas did get the yellow card. Had to have been Kostashin will be whistled for the foul here.
certainly arguing his case.
Kostishin working on Barbier and Memo Diaz. And Memo might have absorbed something around the belt line.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of an elbow to the stomach. Never feels good.
It'll be delivery from Diaz to the far post and over the byline. Looking for Rodriguez out there. Memo Diaz, though. It's amazing to think, when you think about that Strikers FC team, with 6 players playing professionally, second division or higher, in Major League Soccer, 2 of them, Montreal, New York City FC, all from the same area of southern New Mexico.
It's incredible the amount of talent that comes out of there. Obviously, we know about what's come out of El Paso in recent years, but for one team in New Mexico, I'm speaking of Memo Diaz specifically, I'm very happy that he's getting such a strong opportunity with Oakland. Last played for Locomotive in 2020, proposed to his now wife after a big playoff win over New Mexico United in 2020, so certainly making the most of it. An awesome opportunity with Oakland.
Navarro, nice shift to Calvillo. Diaz and Pavkovic, and Pavkovic wanted, I think, to go right or left to Borelli. Didn't work out. Chapa will send Matsoso to the turf. No foul. Zacarias. Matsoso stays down. Gives us an opportunity to tell you about Select, the official match ball supplier of the championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Chapa escapes him. Little step. That was not whistled for a foul on Napo Matsoso, but perhaps should have been.
Players get a little bit of an extra cooling break.
And we'll have another one here in the 75th minute. As you hear 8th notch. Sunglasses at night. The lights are bright, but are they that bright? I don't know.
You're deep in the heart of Texas. Out on the edge of Texas, I guess.
Not quite deep in the heart, but we'll take it. Take a good look at Noah Delgado again, coming over as interim coach. So here we see the own goal. Once again, it's off of Emra Clementa. Just nicked, looked like off the back of his thigh. Has been officially ruled an own goal, so Pedar Petrovic, the instigator, but will not get credit for it.
It is Christmas in July, and Oakland came bearing gifts.
Well done. We're hearing that Lucho Solignac will come in for Pedar Petrovic soon. You knew the Argentine was going to see the pitch tonight for Locomotive FC, starting on the bench this evening.
How about that? You have the ability to take off perhaps the guy that's been the best player on the pitch tonight and bring in your top goal scorer.
Not a bad trade-off.
Not bad.
Meanwhile, Roots ready to go to work. Barbier. Mfeka. Backing around to Hackshaw. And Clementa. Chased by Zacarias. Locomotive does well to pin him. It's kept in play. Borelli, another sliding tackle to regain possession, but Roots will turn over Locomotive FC again. Diaz, Mfeka. Pinching in, Barbier. Chip to the far post. Diaz giving up a little bit to Mark Navarro there, and the flag is up anyway.
Now that El Paso does have what, as of now, would be the winning goal, Duke, will we see Mark Navarro perhaps track back into that more defensive role that we're used to seeing him play? Or will he start, will he continue rather pushing forward as he has most of the match?
Borelli whistled for the foul here.
True professional there from Eder Borelli. Always going. It seems like if he fouls somebody and he knows it, he will go check and make sure they're all right.
Joseph Nane, the Cameroonian, taking the abuse there from the former FC Juarez team captain. Locomotive team captain tonight. Delivered in and just sliced. It'll be a goal kick coming. Eder Borelli, of course, suffering that nearly season-ending shoulder injury on the road versus Roots SC. That was the game where Ottar Magnus Carlsen went off on Locomotive. It was not pretty for Locomotive FC. Made worse by the fact that Eder Borelli was out for an extended absence. Fortunately, thought he was going to have surgery. It did not happen, and nobody was happier that he didn't have to. Mark Navarro gives it up and a bit upset with himself. Nobody happier than Eder Borelli.
Yeah, and obviously, as you said, came back later in the season as El Paso was trying to make a playoff push and played through it. A very painful injury. We would see multiple times in matches where he would fall to the turf and kind of have to be tended to because of the pain that was caused by falling to the turf.
It turns out that he did not have to have surgery, but during the season, it was his choice not to, because that would have ended his year.
Right, and certainly shows the commitment that he has to the team, the sport as well. Been a fantastic addition ever since he came over from Los Bravos on the other side of the Rio Grande.
And has played with Tigres, number of squads in Liga MX. We talk about Chape Herrera, the man who showed up at the open tryout, but then there's Eder Borelli, the man who never gets a shot until he does and then never leaves the lineup.
There's just something to be said for players like that. That certainly it's the heart of the lion, you know, that he has. He feels like he is never out of it, and if you just give him an opportunity, he's going to show why he deserves it.
But Petrovic, well escorted by two Roots players. Good effort by Kostashin. But Eder Borelli, I think that, you know, they look at his size, they look at his lack of pace relative to the position on the wing. Mark Lowry, John Hutchinson, Brian Clairhout. Never start with Brian or with Borelli on it. He certainly gets there. Chipped in wide, and it's in for the goal. What a side-footed effort by Lindo Mfeka to tie it in the 65th. All he needed was a chip. And we're notched at one.
And the pass ahead, how about that from Brian Tamakis to feed him? Professional finish from Mfeka. Oh.
The chip up and over. Audacious. Lindo Mfeka, the South African, kisses it inside the left post to tie the match at one.
You might see that on SportsCenter tonight.
It's a beautiful goal. Roots SC tending to an injured player on the far side. That might be Clementa. It might be Sereno. It is Sereno.
Yasiel Cedeno. 2 assists on the year, a couple of goals. Good to see him trying to get up. Fourth goal in the season for Mpeka. Sorry, go.
Oh, yes. And there will be a change for Locomotive FC. Lucio Solignac coming on to replace Petar Petrovic. So Aron Gomez will head out to the left to replace Petrovic. And Lucio Solignac hasn't officially touched the ball in the run of play, and there's already some pushing and shoving going on.
He's been a little bit. He's been a little bit fiery this year. Of course, the San Antonio match on the road.
Oh my. Well, it was gonna be one of either two things, a red card or a goal. And fortunately for Locomotive, it was the tying goal in a memorable match, June 10th. A 2-2 draw in the Alamo City.
Both those matches were quite memorable. The last one maybe more memorable for the post-match fireworks.
Yes. Well, it's all notched at one apiece. Mpeka with a beautiful chip to push it up and over the Yasu. Could do nothing about it. And we are on level terms. Lucho on for the final 20 plus here at Southwest University Park. Diaz, nice ball out of the back. Controlled, Rodriguez has it go, tipped by Diaz.
That was a missile right at the face of Benny Diaz. I don't know that he could have done anything else with it other than what exactly he did.
We take a look at this one again. Johnny Rodriguez, 7 goals this season for Oakland and nearly had his 8th. It'll be a corner for Roots SC.
Well, Paso certainly has done a good job of keeping Johnny Rodriguez in check tonight. Really, that was his best and first chance at goal.
Knock into the near post, Rodriguez scores! Off the set piece delivered by Memo Diaz. Johnny Rodriguez makes it 2-1, and 2 goals, minutes apart, has put Roots SC on top here in El Paso.
Just mentioned that they'd held him in check for almost 70 minutes, Duke. He takes the shot that forces the corner, and then a beautiful delivery from Memo Diaz. Family out in the GECU green seats. Beautiful feed from him, and then Rodriguez heading it home. 2 opportunities in a matter of seconds, and he takes advantage of it.
And a huge, huge assist by the Southern New Mexico native. The delivery from Diaz, and all alone at the edge of the 6-yard box. Again, Benny Diaz, not a whole lot he could have done about it, and Johnny Rodriguez showing out the heat's not bothering him at all. It's nice and chilly here in the 915.
Yeah, he says so. It looked like McHugh maybe took a step forward, almost mistimed it in a way, and that left Johnny Rodriguez open to head it in right over Benny Diaz.
Wolfgang Prentice. Wolf, as he is known for Oakland Roots, coming in. Brian Tamakas' night is done. He's taken a few knocks this evening. 2-1 Roots. And Locomotive giving up a pair of goals minutes apart. Must find an offensive answer here. Calvillo. Well played. Aron Gomez up, taking a crack at that. That'll force the save at Borelli. Paul Blanchette stretching out for it. Has it comfortably enough, but Borelli flashing out of the back.
As a defender, you know, you find yourself in that position. You gotta have a go. He does it. Not a bad shot on goal. Blanchette needed to make a save. It did so. But Duke, oddly reminiscent, and we just brought it up, of that San Antonio game here where El Paso leads 1-0 for a decent portion of the match. And then in a short turn of events, all of a sudden find themselves down 2-1. So like you said, have to find an equalizer here in the final 20.
Well, Rodriguez clearly open for that header, and I think we can talk about Matsoso's excellent effort, or Mfeka, I should say. It's well done by Borelli to win it back, but a foul, and I think that was a referee waiting to play advantage. Oakland loses the ball, thus the foul call. Locomotive upset, but it'll be a caution on Eder Borelli. Sereno has taken some bumps over the last few minutes.
He's taken a couple of tumbles.
Like I was saying, you can say Lindo Mfeka's goal was impeccably taken, but the Rodriguez header on a restart in the box, no way 17 should be that open.
Well, especially right after he takes this really solid shot at goal that Benny Diaz did his best to handle. You got to know, hey, that's the guy. That's the guy we've been tasked with stopping this entire week. And for him to get in on the end of a header, like I said, it kind of felt like Eric McHugh almost mistimed his jump, his attack on the ball, and left Johnny Rodriguez open. Like you said, Benny Diaz, not much he could have done to attack it because Johnny got there first.
Calvillo over the top, and important intervention again by Memo Diaz. Aaron Gomez was in. Let's take a look at the headed goal. Johnny Rodriguez. McHugh taking a step forward. I don't know if he thought somebody had the coverage in behind, but took a step toward the ball, and free header in the box for Johnny Rodriguez. That man knows what to do with him.
He's going to put that home more often than not in that situation.
Here is Navarro. So Locomotive playing from behind as they did versus San Antonio. Could not find an answer versus San Antonio FC. Can they versus Roots? The team that in their fourth match, Locomotive has still never beaten.
And
a couple of results and a loss, and, pardon me, two losses and one result.
Yeah. And one of them maybe the most heartbreaking in franchise history, when they're one of the top seeds in the entire league, hosting a home playoff game Friday night, and Roots comes in here with a second half goal. It stuns everybody.
1-0, and here is a yellow card. I believe that is to not Matsoso, as he continues to discuss with Chap Herrera. But things getting a little chippier, and Locomotive, well, I know Locomotive FC has to be frustrated. Good to see Chapa smiling. But some of the frustrations clearly boiling over tonight here in El Paso.
They certainly haven't won a match since June 14th. Just 3 points in the last 5 matches. Everybody wants better, right? So when it doesn't happen, when 2 goals in quick succession like that, it certainly is frustrating.
Calvillo on the restart. McHugh. That's a foul. And I believe it's on Popkovic. And Nabil Hackshaw is in some pain. And we will have the hydration break here. Fortunate for Nabil Hackshaw, as Locomotive FC looking for answers. Brian Claerhout, along with his coaching staff, trying to find some way forward for this Locomotive FC team.
It's certainly some moves on the chessboard for him. Of course, Manuel Sinupe, who has been solid at times, coming on in the attack, as has Chris Garcia. Miles Lyon still out there, so perhaps we see any combination of those 3 players. Perhaps Jose Carrillo, of course, obviously needing a goal. Maybe you don't bring a defender on, but maybe the new guy can provide something for El Paso. But certainly I would think in the last 15 minutes they're going to need, obviously if they're going to equalize, they're going to need to create something, and that hasn't been, other than that own goal opportunity created by Petar Petrovic, there hasn't been much of that in the second half.
We're hearing that Mark Navarro will come in or come off for Miles Lyons. Chris Garcia is going to come on for Dennis Kostishin as well for Locomotive FC. So a pair of changes upcoming after the hydration break. So Miles Lyons in for Mark Navarro. And Dennis Kostishin coming off for Chris Garcia. I think for Locomotive FC and Dennis Kostishin, certainly a disappointing evening. He hasn't been able to touch it, and teams know where he is on the pitch. He and Petar Petrovic draw crowds.
Certainly, I mean, obviously the number 10 out there, and he's done enough good things for El Paso this year, created enough opportunities, scored some magnificent goals that you have to have some eyes on him on the scouting report. Oakland certainly does. And for, again, for good reason, but they've been able to slow him down in a way that maybe El Paso, certainly, I guess they did with Johnny Rodriguez for a little while, but as soon as he scores the goal, that kind of goes out the window, unfortunately.
So into the 78th minute we go as we're just about ready to resume play after the hydration break. Foul called at the edge of the box. So the restart coming from Blanchette. Cedeño working on Chris Garcia. Whether that's Diaz with Cedeño ahead of it. So Memo Diaz up on the right side now for Delgado and Oakland Roots. Knocked back in. Lucho looking for Garcia. It's a good step in there by Rodriguez. Can't maintain possession, and now Locomotive loose down the right side. Miles Lyons. Calvillo. Lucho trying to make a turn. Well bodied by Hackshaw. Lyons. Chapa to Borelli. Good switch. And now Garcia. Pavkovic running out of the back. Miles Lyons scuffed by Aron Gomez wide.
Looks like Duke Oakland in that hydration break maybe changed a little bit of their formation, packing in a little bit more defensively. So this last 10-12 minutes, as El Paso looks for an equalizer, could get a little bit more difficult just based on that formation change.
Well, Clementa had Miles Lyons well escorted. Certainly Lyons giving up quite a bit in terms of height. But a nice stop by Locomotive as Blanchette puts it back into play. And there will be a second 11 for 10 substitution tonight. Trayvon Reed about ready to come in for Lindo Infeca. And it looks like there will be a double substitution for Roots SC as well. Anwar Jose Palaez Paba in for Johnny Rodriguez.
So both the goal scorers coming out for Oakland Roots.
Trayvon Reed for Lindo Infeca. That is correct. Johnny Rodriguez, with what stands currently as the match winner, coming off in the 80th minute, along with his fellow goal scorer Lindo Infeca. Rodriguez with his 8th of the season to give Roots SC the lead.
It looked like, mentioned when they scored, of course, Memo Diaz got the assist. A group of, I assume, his family fans are out on the green seats cheering for Memo Diaz, and Johnny Rodriguez gave them a nice little wave as he walked towards the bench.
Nicely done. Infeca in the 65th, Rodriguez in the 69th, and that is the difference. But here comes Locomotive SC. Borelli looking for Garcia, swept out by Clementa. Locomotive about ready to make another substitution. Emerson Upe in for Aron Gomez. Gomez has put in his shift as usual for Locomotive FC.
He's been good tonight. Really unfortunate that he doesn't have a goal to his name tonight. Of course, the ball over the top from Mark Navarro in that first half that Gomez put off the left post. But overall, I think a good showing from him tonight.
Garcia. Popped out off Zacarias, or Zacarias gets it. Lucho trying to control, but getting a piece is Matsoso. A little back and forth between the teams. Wolfgang Prentice. Barbier. Actually well won by Cedeño. Lyons has to retreat. It's going to be a foul on Sanupe. Pull on push on Barbier. He goes down, and the referee well positioned to spot that. Eric Tattersall centering tonight. The Englishman, Emma Sanupe, got the start last home match. Really one of Locomotive FC's brightest attacking lights tonight with a tie. That is a foul. Locomotive will restart it from the back. Can he duplicate his effort versus RGV? Didn't get the goal, but really one of the few options that seemed to work for Locomotive through his minutes as a starter.
Yes, again, we discussed it, but he brings a little bit of a different look with his pace.
Over the top, Borelli, Lucho, on Hackshaw, Lucho cuts it back to the far post, deflected out.
Blanchett screaming at Jennifer Garner, asking for an offsides.
Flag stayed down. The Argentine not having scored since June 14th versus Lights FC.
That was a PK.
Right? Borelli, service. Goes for naught. Locomotive looking simply for an equalizer here in the 84th minute. Locomotive starting the evening in what is, in essence, a 3-4-3. Here's McHugh over the top. Lucho wants a handball on Prentice, none forthcoming. It looked to be working to good effect this evening, but Oakland Roots has really settled in, and of course, 2 goals here in the second half has given Roots SC the lead. 2 goals, 4 minutes apart.
Certainly made some solid adjustments after El Paso was able to get the go-ahead goal on the own goal. El Paso hasn't, at least to this point, made the same adjustments after they've fallen behind.
Barbier, just give and go, Wolfgang Prentice. Chips one across, and it's in for a third. All alone at the far post. Pelaez Baba in his first minutes of the match, surely sealing all 3 points tonight for Roots SC in the 85th. All by his lonesome. And the only thing Prentice had to do was pick up his head and see who was there.
I'm not sure what the breakdown maybe happened for El Paso. As Popkovich was there, just kind of everybody watching and maybe thinking somebody else was going to handle it. Maybe they thought he was offsides. I'm not sure. Just a complete breakdown.
Nobody lifted their hands. I think they knew. But that is just about the nail in the coffin for Locomotive.
Benny Diaz shaking his head. 3 goals in 20 minutes for Roots to take a commanding lead now.
Anwar Palaez is second of the season for Roots SC. Rodriguez with 8, and Feca with 4. Here's Garcia. That's taken away. Clementa. It's deflected off Garcia as Blanchette tried to push it up the right wing. Pavkovic. McHugh. Will switch to Borelli. Garcia. Calvillo. Locomotive in an absolute chase now. They've got to score soon. Simply to have a shot over the final 5 minutes. Or 4 minutes plus stoppage time. Solid effort by Sinupe. Lyons does well to get possession. Back up top, Calvillo can't come around. It'll be a throw-in for Locomotive FC. But Calvillo needing to take that extra step to set something up, and Roots closes in quickly.
Good defending there by Roots to cut it out and take away what was looking to be a pretty solid opportunity for El Paso.
Calvillo headed up by Pavkovic. Blanchette. Always love to watch a goalie just take a full plank right there in the grass on those easy pop-ups.
Hey, you got 10 seconds, you know.
Sure. Sure, rolling in the grass feels pretty good. Wow, well taken.
Great touch.
Excellent work up the right wing, Jessiel Cedeño.
Duke, we talked a lot during that 12-match unbeaten streak for El Paso, kind of how they would always be able to weather the storm. You know, if they fell behind, always seem to have an answer. As things have turned for them the last 5 or 6 matches, haven't seen that as much in terms of being able to fight back and battle back.
They did versus RGV last week, earning a draw in the 88th minute, but tonight down 2 goals. Needing some miraculous play in Blanchette with Lucho closing in. They simply collapse on the ball.
Certainly you'll have that in it, you know, the ebbs and flows of a season.
We're hearing 5 minutes of stoppage time. So a little bit extra for Locomotive to make it work. But as we say, the goal has got to come quickly if they have any chance of getting anything out of this. Here's McHugh. Lyons, Sinupe. Roots SC doing their job defensively. Reed goes down. It'll be a Locomotive throw. A referee having nothing of Reed's histrionics. Substitution for Oakland Roots. It'll be a double sub. And it looks like Memo Diaz is going to come off the pitch. He'll get a curtain call in front of his family here at Southwest University Park when it's officially signaled. The other one coming off is going to be Cedeño. Apparently the signboard is not working.
It's like number 15, Daniel Gomez is one of them.
So Gomez is on. Ryan Herr also in. And there is the official signal, 5 minutes of stoppage time for Locomotive FC. To try and nab something from this, but down 2 goals unlikely. Chaparrera. As you pointed out, what Locomotive has had, that ability to come from behind, that ability to stay tight defensively, that's broken down. That third goal, second and third, really. Open for Johnny Rodriguez. Open for Pelaez Baba. Nice ball over the top. Pavkovic over the crossbar.
Had to be if El Paso was going to have any opportunity in the last 2-3 minutes here. But yeah, Duke, those breakdowns you discussed, we really haven't seen things like that from them this season. It's
very uncharacteristic. Yes. Great service from Zacarias, who's going to put in a full 90 tonight. Bense Pavkovic. Into the third minute now of stoppage time. Garcia is taken down in a heap. Good effort defensively by Gomez. It'll be a Roots throw.
Certainly not going to get any easier here for El Paso, though, Duke. 3 consecutive road matches after this. Rio Grande Valley, who they just played last weekend. Then a trip to Miami FC, and then Phoenix Rising August 12th before a return home August 19th.
Brian Bird's moving into the next match. Locomotive. It'll be a bit before they are home, but when they do return home, it will be August the 19th versus Indianapolis, Indy 11. And the return of Mark Lowry to Southwest University Park. But a big one on the road next week versus RGV. The team Locomotive had issues with, but did get the draw with last weekend. Here's Chaparrera. Emma Sanupe. It seems like Locomotive has just not been able to find open space to attack the way they were, at least in the first half. Balls over the top.
Certainly Oakland made an adjustment to that. You have to give them, credit. El Paso had some great shots on goal, great attempts.
Borelli, Blanchette. Awkward collision versus Lucho Solignac. They both go down, and
hopefully he's okay. This would be...
Wow. Texas Tech nod to the dock here. Ricardo Ruiz. On to take a look at Lucho Solignac. Blanchette immediately signaling the Locomotive. Team docks.
And he's holding his
lower back,
as you can see there, but it looked like he may have also gotten hit in the head as well. Good to see him up and standing.
It's the back that's giving him problems. Blanchette, I'm sure, coming up for that ball. Perhaps making a little knee contact, and that appears to be what the Oakland Roots staff is looking or helping him with. Yeah, ouch.
And that's the knee that they're looking at for him, I think, too. So uncomfortable for both players.
Well, Blanchette, Lucho, both limping away from this one. That'll add a little bit on to the stoppage time. But really only about 90 seconds to 2 minutes perhaps for Locomotive to do anything here. John Burklow talking things over with Brian Clairhout. And staff looking for answers finding none tonight.
And I think this was, you can handle a draw and some losses as they've had the last 5 or 6 matches, Duke. But again, it's the breakdown defensively, especially on that last goal. I think that might trouble Brian Clairhout the most. We'll wait to hear from him in his post-game press conference too, though.
Over the top, Borelli trying to set one down, and just a miscommunication. Lucho was there, and that is the end of the match. Hop, skip, and a jump. Barbier sees it go through his legs. Lucho thought he was going to catch a piece and be there for the bounce. It did not work out. Regardless, it does not matter. Roots SC with their 3rd win over El Paso. 3-1 with 3 incredible second half come from behind goals to take all 3 points here in El Paso tonight. We'll be back to wrap things up here in a bit from El Paso, Texas.
Brings the first ever MMA event to Southwest University Park on Friday, August 4th. Sabina Mazo headlines the night. Don't miss out on any of the thrilling action. Tickets are on sale now at southwestuniversitypark.com and the Durango Street box office. Doors open at 6 p.m. on fight night with the first bout at 7 p.m. and the main card at 9 p.m. Special thanks to our sponsors Speaking Rock, Bud Light, Cesar Ornelas, Subaru El Paso, and Barrio Eats and Drinks. We'll see you at Southwest University Park on August 4th.
Welcome back, everybody. Southwest University Park, downtown El Paso. Oakland Roots SC coming back in the second half after going down 1-0 to take a 3-1 win. Duke Keith along with Colin Deaver as we show you all 4 goals scored by Roots SC tonight, Colin.
Yes, sir, because here's the own goal.
Emre Clementa on the deflection from Petar Petrovic. Things starting brightly for Locomotive FC, but this amazing chip by Lindo Mfeka. Certainly a goal of the week nominee to the far post. And then Memo Diaz. Wide open in the 6th, Johnny Rodriguez with his 8th of the season. And then second half substitute, Prentice looking over to find his fellow sub Pelaez, his 2nd of the season in the 85th minute to give Locomotive a 3-1 win, Colin.
Yeah, Oakland Roots coming in a fantastic second half. For El Pasoans, you can take a little bit, maybe of pride that Memo Diaz was part of it, getting that assist. Great to see, him again. Great to see that he has so many family here. But for Locomotive, certainly they're going to be back to the drawing board with 3 consecutive road matches, looking for answers, still looking for a win. Haven't had one since mid-June.
They'll have to do it on the road versus RGV Toros FC. 3 on the road before returning home August 19th versus Indy 11. For our producer and director, Juan Gutierrez, for Colin Deaver, I'm Duke Keith. Thanks for being with us tonight. Again, your final score, Locomotive FC falls. Locomotive FC 1, Oakland Roots 3. So long, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.